Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the top 3 in every category of makeup video. So today I'll be talking you through all of my favorite primers, foundations, concealers, powders, lip glosses, everything from the drugstore in every category, my top 3 brands or like products in general. So if you'd like to see my favorites, please keep on watching. This is a video that's been hopping around here on the beauty community of YouTube for a while, and I thought I'd join in and share my favorites too. I really like these videos and I feel like they give a good insight to someone's favorites in a collection, and it's a little bit easier than choosing like one favorite from each category. Now, so most of these categories I do have 3 products for, but some of them I have like one cheeky extra product, or some of them I have one less, just because if I don't have 3 real favorites, I only have like one true favorite, I will only just share that one favorite because I don't want to just be recommending things just to fill out the category of 3. Also, this is probably going to be a longer video, so I will say I might split this up into 2 parts. So if this says part 1 in the intro, like in the description box down below or in the title, part 2 will be coming straight after. I just don't want to upload like a 40-minute video. I'd rather upload 2 20-minute ones. So I'm gonna get straight into it with a primer. So my favorite 2 drugstore primers are both actually from Nyx. They are both really cute in packaging. Before these 2, I wasn't really a primer person, but once I tried these 2 primers, I kind of got more into it, especially the marshmallow one because it smells so nice, but I do feel like this one's quite blurring. The first one I have to mention is the NYX Angel Veil. It's just a nice smoothing blurring primer, and I do feel like when I wear this primer, it extends the length of the wear of my face for the day. And then the NYX Marshmallow Primer is one that's been going very viral at the moment. The scent definitely is a huge prompt for me to enjoy this primer because it does smell really cute. The packaging is really cute, smells nice. I also like the kind of packaging this has because it doesn't all accumulate at the bottom. I believe it's one of those like vacuum ones where it goes up through the tube as you use it up, if that makes sense. Like there's a layer on the bottom and it goes up, and I do think that's practical. You can also use this alone without foundation too, which I haven't done before, but I think it's a cool concept. And yeah, these are my 2 favorite primers from the drugstore. I'm not a huge primer person, but these 2 have changed that for me because I do actually really enjoy them. Now, next I have some foundations. As you can see, everything that I'm going to be talking about today, spoilers, is sitting behind me, and I'll talk you through each category. So for foundations from the drugstore, I have 2 of my favorites. And then one of them I don't have with me because I've used it up entirely. So the first favorite I have to mention is the Bourjois Healthy Mix Foundation. This is a classic from the drugstore. I wear the shade 52 Vanilla, and this gives the most perfect glowy natural finish to the skin. You can build it up and like powder it to make it look more like long wearing and last through the day. Not saying it doesn't last if you don't powder or anything, but if you don't powder it has more of a glowy finish. I actually really enjoy the Healthy Mix scent as well, and I think the whole line is really gorgeous, and I really like this entire base line from Bourjois. They have different versions. This is just the straight up foundation, but they also have a serum version of this foundation, which I also enjoy. I feel like this shade match is really good on my skin tone. Like it's a good yellowy undertone for me. It's made in France. That's all I have really to say about it. I really enjoy this line, and it looks like you put on your foundation, you went and sat in the sun, you've come inside from being outside, and you're just glowing. That's the vibe I get from this foundation, and I love it. It's just perfect. The other foundation I want to talk about that I have with me is the Infallible range. I actually really like the Fresh Wear one and the 24-hour matte cover, so like the matte ones from the line that are in the black packaging with the red writing on them. I wear these on like cheer competitions when I'm going clubbing. If I need a bulletproof foundation to last me forever, these are my go-to. They're very full coverage, very like the full beat. I love these for that, and I do really like these shades as well. I wear 135 Radiant Vanilla, and I do think it doesn't look too dead on the skin. Like it's not like too matte to the point that it looks cakey. I do feel like this has a nice like thinner coverage, not thinner coverage, it's a thinner formula. So even though it's high coverage, it doesn't look thick and cakey on the skin, but you can build it up to have like a full beat, which is really nice. The one that I don't have with me is also from the L'Oreal Infallible range, and it's the Pro Glow. I think they've discontinued that. And if they have, let me know in the comments because that's a tragedy. That foundation was so good. It was kind of similar to the Bourjois one that I just mentioned in that it had like that glowy finish, but it had a little bit more coverage, I want to say. These L'Oreal ones have a really nice fresh scent. It's not like floral or anything. It's just like, I want to say kind of cucumbery. It's just very fresh. I always feel fresh when I wear these. So yeah, I really like the L'Oreal Infallible ones, the matte one and the Pro Glow one that is in the black packaging with the blue writing on it. Both really good favorite foundations from the drugstore. Next, I'm going to go into some concealers. I only have 2 concealers here, but I actually have cheeky 2 extra ones. So I actually have like kind of 4 favorites, but 2 of them are from the same brand, so I'll talk you through them. First of all, of course, I have the L'Oreal Infallible More Than Concealer. This is from that Infallible range, and I have heard from some people that this is a dupe for the Tarte Shape Tape. I don't have the Tarte Shape Tape, so I can't speak on that, but this is a very high coverage, creamy concealer that doesn't look thick or cakey under the eyes. I don't really have huge issues with this creasing, but also I'm 21 years old and don't really have big creasing problems generally. So I don't know if you are like more crepey under the eyes and have more texture, maybe this would show up, but you know, my eyes are like that right now. So for me, at this stage of my life, this is great, really full coverage and great for like clubbing or like, you know, if I'm going to a cheer competition and I want like full beat sculpted. This is kind of a lighter shade on my skin tone, like it's kind of bright white. But when I'm going for that full beat, I kind of like a really exaggerated, like brightened under eye. This is the shade 326 Vanilla. If there's vanilla in the shade name, it's usually like with a yellowy undertone. It suits my skin tone nicely. This one is in the shade 100 Ivory, and this is a favorite by so many people. This is the Maybelline Instant Rewind Eraser. Yeah, just a classic. The sponge applicator makes it quite easy, although it's not the most hygienic applicator. It is quite easy to use. It's a simple twist up, and I do find this shade works well for my skin tone. It doesn't look too thick. It's kind of a creamier formula in my opinion, and definitely one of my favorites. I feel like this is a very affordable, easy to access one. Like everyone knows about this one and everyone loves it for a reason. So the ones that I don't have with me that I'm just going to mention are the Rimmel Concealers, especially the one in the Radiant range. So the Lasting Radiance Concealer from Rimmel, the one with the orange lid. I really like that one. It's very fresh, has a nice scent. They've reformulated it and I think it's not as good as the old version of the formulation, but it's still very nice. So honorable mention. And then also from Rimmel is the one that's in the squeezy tube with the blue lid. Oh, I think I actually have that still. Anyway, it's the Match Perfection one, and it kind of has a squeezy tube with a brush tip applicator, kind of similar applicator to the YSL Touche Eclat concealer, but it has a squeezy like tube instead of being in like a clicky pen style. It has that like brush tip nozzle applicator though, and I definitely really like that one. I feel like the Rimmel concealers are very good in that they're very thin on the skin and they melt really nicely into the face. So if you're not wearing a load of foundation and you just wear the Rimmel concealer, it doesn't look weird. Or like if you just wore, for example, this L'Oreal one without foundation with it, it would kind of look out of place because it's kind of a lot. Whereas those Rimmel ones, they don't like totally mask on the skin. They kind of melt into the skin a little bit more nicely and have a bit more of like a skin-like finish. So those are an honorable mention as well. I also actually should give a shout out to the Bourjois Healthy Mix Concealer, also in the vanilla shade. I really like that one as well. I don't have it with me because I used it up, but I do love the whole Bourjois Healthy Mix range. Anything they've come out with in that range, I've tried and enjoyed. So yeah, that concealer is really nice as well. I'm going to go into some powder now. I'm a loose powder kind of person. I have tried pressed powders before and I don't dislike them or anything. I just love I just love loose powder more than pressed powder because I feel like it's more versatile and I don't know, I just like it more. So the ones that I have with me here are the RCMA No Color Powder. This is my holy grail, favorite, no flashback, no nothing. It's the no color one, so it really brightens the under eye, but it's not bad on like darker skin tones or anything. I use this no matter what my skin tone is and it always looks good on my skin tone. It does come in darker skin tones as well though if you feel like the white is going to be too bright for you. But I do feel like this really blurs the skin, makes you look so flawless. When I first used to go clubbing when I first turned 18, this was like, I wore this every night because it just did me so well. It never failed me. Definitely kept my face in place and just a really good one. The only thing I don't like about the RCMA No Color Powder is the Parmesan shaker. Like how inconvenient is that? I actually decant my RCMA into like random little other containers instead and it looks really dodgy because I've just got like a tiny little tin full of powder, like white powder, but it's just, this is such a difficult container to use. I wish it came in something more like this. I'll talk about this now. This is, I feel like a very popular one here on YouTube especially. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Powder. I have it in the shade 10 Fair Light. Looks like this. And I've been enjoying this one a lot recently. It's very finely milled, easy to wear, smoothing, blurring, all the good things. It's a good shade match and it's very affordable. I love this. And yeah, I'd be sad if I ran out of it. These are like my 2 faves that I have with me at the moment. The other one is one that I'm probably going to purchase next. I usually borrow this off my sister and it's the Innisfree loose powder, the one in the little green pot that you can like unscrew, and it kind of smells like, I think it's matcha. It's like, it's got a tea scent, I believe, and it's a really nice scent. Those two powders over there don't have any scent, and I'm a really scented person. I love it when something has a cute scent, as you can probably tell by everything else that I've liked so far. And that little Innisfree one is so finely milled. It's such a gorgeous powder. It makes sense that it's one of their best sellers, because I believe it's only $10 for that little powder, and it's so high quality. I really like that little Innisfree powder, and once lockdown's over and I'm able to head off to the shops, it's definitely one of the next powders that I'm going to pick up, because it's gorgeous. Every time I'm at my sister's house and I'm borrowing her makeup, I use that one because it's really nice, and I need it for myself next. Okay, I have a lot of bronzers to talk about because I'm a bronzer fiend. Most of these categories I have been good and kept to 3, but bronzer is one where I needed to talk about 4 things because I just couldn't narrow it down. But I did want to mention that 2 are more like contoury bronzers and the other 2 are more like bronzy bronzers, if that makes sense. I'll talk about the contoury ones first, and we'll talk about the bronzy ones after. So the contoury kind of bronzers that I have to talk about, the first one is the Maybelline City Bronzer. This is definitely underrated. I have seen a couple people here on YouTube talk about it, but I think more people need to talk about it. The City Bronzer smells a little bit like fake tan, but not in an irritating way. I actually quite like the scent. It's kind of a lighter, cooler tone. This one is in the shade Medium Cool 200. They do have other shades. This is just the one that I chose for myself, and the shade 200 is perfect. I really like this shade. I'm not wearing it on my face right now. I don't know why I'm comparing them, cats, but really nice bronzer, nice shade, affordable, and silky smooth. It just works. Love it. Really accessible here in Australia, especially. I feel like everywhere sells Maybelline. Something that's not as accessible here in Australia, unfortunately, is Milani. Milani's kind of a bit more difficult to get here, and also it's not that affordable compared to like Maybelline. Milani's kind of like mid-end to me. I know in America though that this is considered like drugstore, and this is the Milani Silky Matte, of course. Beautiful, beautiful. This smells so good. It smells like a summer beach vacation. I can smell pina coladas and I love it. Just a delicious bronzer. This is very smooth, very matte, silky matte. So I definitely agree with the name Silky Matte, and I feel like this is a little bit on the cooler tone side. Same with that little medium cool bronzer that I showed you earlier. These just edge a little bit on the cooler side rather than the orangey bronzier side, and so although I do bronze the whole face with this, it's a little bit more of a cooler bronze, a really stunning shade. And I also feel like if I'm more precise with the application of this, I can definitely make this into more of a contour shade. So really cute bronzer, really like this one. I'm not wearing it right now, but I have the shade 02 Sunkissed. They come out with like a load of shades, but that's the one I chose for me. And then the bronzier bronzers that I have to talk about are, of course, the butter bronzer from Physicians Formula. Everyone knows this. Yum. You know what it smells like. If you haven't smelled this before, go to the store and smell it. You can probably smell it through the packaging, because this makes my entire bronzer category of my makeup collection smell like the butter bronzer. I really love the butter bronzer scent. It's creamy, it's smooth, it's just so creamy and soft and blendable. All of these bronzers I'm talking about today, I never have problems with skipping or patchiness. When I was younger in high school and I had a lot of like acne and stuff, I used to have so much problems with like bronzers and contours like skipping or looking patchy and like weird on my cheekbones. Now that my skin has cleared up, I don't really have as much of an issue with it, but I still have like I'm like looking at my bronzers being like, are you acting a little bit suspicious? None of these ever mess up for me. They're like foolproof, and this is one of those foolproof ones. Only thing I'm not 100% on is this packaging situation. Why did it come with this sponge? Does anyone use this sponge? Because I don't. If you do, let me know, because you can tell it's clean. I've never used this thing in my life. I do like having a mirror in this, but this could have just been a simple compact with a mirror in the lid rather than like the clearness on the top. It could have just been like, pretend it was like this, and it's just like the product underneath, nice and slim, not bulky, and they could have put the mirror in there and that would have been perfect. But anyway, you do you, Physicians Formula, it's fine. This is actually the old style of the packaging. They've actually redone it recently, and they didn't fix the bulkiness. They just changed the color scheme. Anyway, it's fine. If I run out of that Physicians Formula one, I'd probably repurchase it, which is saying a lot for me because I have a lot of makeup. So if I'm repurchasing at something, wow. And all those products that I showed you earlier, those are all repurchases as well. I probably have already repurchased them because they're ones that I love. Next I have the L'Oreal Wild Bronze Glow to talk about. This is what I'm wearing on my face currently. It's a very bronzy bronzer. Like, it's very warm, summery vibes. Smells yummy. It kind of smells like argan oil to me. I really like it. This is a huge bronzer. There is so much product in here. How much is there? 18 grams, and I've hit major pan, and I will be hitting more major pan through summer because this is glorious. It's kind of got like a little bit of sheen through it. Oh, it's not going to turn up on camera. You're definitely not going to be able to see it, but it has a little bit of like it's not a matte bronzer. It has a little bit of like dimension, but not in a like gross shimmery way. It's just perfect and looks very natural and like skin-like. Definitely a nice shade. I think this is the shade Latera 01 Light Bronze. Love it. Okay, those are all the bronzers that I have to talk about. Let's get into some blush. I only have 2 blushes to talk about because, you know, I don't want to talk about things unless I truly love them. And if I feel like only 2 are in the category for me to talk about, I'm just going to talk about 2. So the first one is from Milani. Again, this is the Luminoso Baked Powder Blush. A classic. Everyone loves this. The only thing that I don't 100% love about this blush is it's a little bit on the powdery side. I do feel like, and you can tell, every time I dig into this to get product up, I feel like I'm kicking up quite a fair bit of powder, but as you can tell, the little dome has gone down quite a lot. I do dig into this. It is an enjoyable blush and it's a great shade. Luminoso is definitely up my like blush color palette alley, like up my vibe. I love like a peachy tone blush. This is also a dupe, a lot of people say, for NARS Orgasm, which is a very popular shade and everyone knows about it. So yeah, definitely a fave. Not as affordable here in Australia, but I bought this online and it's okay. Maybe wait for Black Friday if you're here in Australia. The other blushes that I have to talk about are just like a brand in general's blush formula, and that is the Balm. Over here I have the Balm Springs Little Girls Getaway Trio. What's it called? It's got Balm Springs, Balm Beach, and Balm Desert. Now I don't actually all the time use these all as blushes because they're kind of light and some of them are a bit more neutral. Like that's a bit of a light blush for me. That's a cute blush. This one's a bit more like a bronzy blush to me, like a, what do they call it these days? A blonzer. But these are all really nice, smooth on the skin. I do enjoy these. I also have the, what's it called? I think Kelly Gooch was talking about it recently. I have another like balm blush palette that I leave at my boyfriend's house. It's called the Will Powder Palette, and that's also really gorgeous as well. That one also has a little highlight in the palette, but I'll be talking about the Balm highlighters soon. But yeah, the Balm's blushes are just a great formula, and I feel like they're super well known for their blushes for a reason, because they're good. Okay, next I'm going to go into some highlights. Here are the highlights I have to talk about. I feel like I wrote down another one that I wanted to mention that I don't have with me. Oh yeah, so I don't have the Maybelline Master Chrome highlight with me anymore because I actually panned mine, but I did want to give a big shout out to the Maybelline Master Chrome highlight because that is probably, it might beat these guys even, just because, okay, I haven't mentioned this earlier, but like the Balm is a little bit more pricey here in Australia, and the Colourpop one, it's like nice, but it's a different kind of genre. Like these are a different formula. So I would say out of all my highlighters from the drugstore, Maybelline Master Chrome wins. They have a good shade range. They have like golden undertone ones. I chose the golden one because I'm more of a golden preference highlight person, but they also have like icier ones, pinky, rose goldy kind of vibe ones. Anything you're looking for in a highlight, they have it. And it's just a soft, creamy, really buildable formula. Very intense. You can build it up for like a blinding highlight. You can also blend it out for a more shimmery, sheer kind of look without it being glittery. It doesn't have glittery. I don't like a glittery highlight. I want it to be a glowy, glistening, wet looking gleam rather than like glitters or like actual, I don't want to see them on my skin. Like I don't want to see like the particles. Anyway, in that same kind of genre are the Manizer highlighters from the Balm. I have over here the one that I haven't dug into yet. This is the Bonnie Luminizer, and this one is more of like a champagne kind of golden shade. This is definitely up my alley. I'm really excited to dig into this after I use up some of my other highlighters. But I like to go through like kind of one thing at a time sometimes, so I don't like to open too many highlighters at one go, and I have a very similar highlight that I'm currently working through. It's the MAC one. Anyway, but these are some Manizer Sister highlighters that I love and have been using. I have the I'll open it up and show you one by one. This is the Mary Luminizer, the Cindy Luminizer, and the Betty Luminizer. The Betty Luminizer is a little bit more difficult for me to use just because it's a bronzier highlight, but I do like this on the body. If I'm going out somewhere and want like a really bronzed goddess kind of look, that's really stunning. And also if I'm like really tan, I can like mix that with other highlighters to like deepen them up, because in the summer, you know, sometimes I want a more like bronzy highlight than I would usually go for in the winter. The Cindy Luminizer is a pinky toned highlighter. I don't have a load of pinky toned highlighters in my collection, so that's a really fun one. And then the Mary Luminizer, I've already gone through a full size, like one of these of the Mary Lou. I feel like this Mary Luminizer was like everybody's first highlight because it's so good. It's kind of on the icier side, but without being too icy that it's like white vibes. It's kind of like a champagne ice, and it's really stunning. It's definitely a classic, and I can totally understand why I used up the original full size in one go, because it is so nice. It's very much that shimmery glisten formula rather than the glittery formula that I'm not as into. And I like this little trio set because it meant that I was able to get mini sizes of all my faves without having to purchase a full big size, because I'd already gone through a whole big size, so I didn't want to like commit as much, and then I was able to try a full big size of the shade that I'm most likely to use up, because I feel like the golden champagne kind of category is my go-to. I felt like it would be more appropriate to get like the golden one full size. Also, this is what I mean by having a mirror. It's that simple. Product, mirror, done. And I also really like the mirror on the inside of this. Like, it's a good, big, large mirror. There's no like writing all over it or anything, so it's really easy to see yourself. It's quite a nice compact. Really like this one. Okay, the last highlighter that I have to mention, or highlighter formula, is from Colourpop, and it's the Super Shock Cheek product. Here I have Flexitarian, which I have been using a lot recently in tutorials and stuff. This one is a very like well-known one for being blinding, but if you want one that's less blinding than this and a little bit more like that buildable, but you can still make it blinding if you want kind of formula, I definitely recommend getting Lunch Money, which is one that I previously have totally panned, so I don't have it in my collection anymore to show you guys. But Lunch Money is like pretty much an exact shade dupe for Mary Lou Manizer, that like classic lightest one that a lot of people are into. So if you're into that kind of shade but want to try a new formula, definitely recommend the Super Shock Cheek product formula from Colourpop. It's kind of like, some people say it's a more difficult formula to work with, and I can understand why, because it's a little bit daunting to work with like this interesting, unique cream to powder kind of formula. But I do think it's not that hard to use. Just put on a little bit and work it in really well. Keep blending with a brush, and I've never had any issues with it personally. I'm really into this kind of formula, and Flexitarian's really nice for like a really blinding, icy, unmatched kind of intergalactic, you're gonna see it from the moon and stars and outer space kind of highlight. Flexitarian is definitely one of my favorites. Okay, I think that's all of the products I'm going to talk about for now, because I think I'll make this into a part 2. I can see my recording is literally 22 minutes long already, so I'm going to make a part 2 for all of this kind of stuff. If you want to see eyes and lips, come back for part 2, and I'll also be sharing my setting spray favorites over there, because this is too long already. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If these are similar to your favorites, let me know. If you have different favorites to me, also let me know, because I'd love to hear what your favorites are. If you have something that I haven't tried in a particular category, I'm always down to try new things and hear you guys' recommendations, so please let me know in the comments. Subscribe, you can find me everywhere, like on all the other social medias, Instagram, Twitter I got recently, Visco, Pinterest, Tumblr. I always forget some, but you know, the vibes. You can find me everywhere. If you want to see the makeup look that I'm currently wearing on my face, I've already uploaded the makeup tutorial. It's just a natural summery glow with a little pop of color on the lid. That's already live on my channel if you want to go check that out. And I'll catch you in part 2. Or not if you don't want to watch it. I don't judge. Thanks for watching. Peace.